Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where?
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like fucker? You fucker, fucker!
Huh? What the f?
Hello again everyone, this is Bionic Slime, back again with BS Reviews. I'm your online voice for reviews of your choice. This time I'll be reviewing the second installment in the movie series of the Dragon Ball anime. There are 4 Dragon Ball movies total, that's if you count the 25th anniversary special, Path to Power. And this time I'll be reviewing the second movie, which is entitled The Sleeping Princess in Devil's Castle. Now, if you guys have listened to my previous review of the first Dragon Ball movie, Curse of the Blood Rubies, you'll know that I hated that ungodly, unholy piece of shit that it was, and just how horribly horrendous that film actually is. The biggest problem I have with all the Dragon Ball films, which is why I dislike them so passionately, is that they all basically just retread the same old works. They take story arcs or story elements from the original Dragon Ball series, change a couple of sceneries around, put a couple uninteresting, lame new characters in, and try and sell it off as some kind of new movie. Most of this fails horribly, but luckily this film is the one tiebreaker out of those 4 films. Sleeping Princess in Devil's Castle is brought to you by Funimation. It stars the vocal talents of Celie Delgadillo as Goku, Laurie Steele as Krillin, Mike McFarland as Count Lucifer, Master Roshi and the Army Commander, Christopher R. Sabat as Yamcha and Igor, and Christine Martin as Bulma. The plot of Sleeping Princess in Devil's Castle. As I said before, these Dragon Ball movies take their plot points from the Dragon Ball series, picking up where Goku and Krillin first meet each other as they venture out to Master Roshi's island in order to receive his martial arts training. Master Roshi refuses to train either of the children until they obtain a very special item for him. He wishes for them to go to the Devil's Hand Castle in order to retrieve a beautiful princess who is just simply known as the Sleeping Princess and bring her back for Master Roshi so he can get a date. Both Goku and Krillin agree, not really realizing the severity of the situation, as it turns out the Devil's Hand Castle is populated by hundreds of monsters and demons who are led by a villainous vampire-like demon lord named Count Lucifer, who is planning a secret plot to destroy the sun in order to put the world in infinite darkness so that the monsters can rule without sunlight being a bother. Unfortunately, when Bulma, Yamcha, Oolong, and Puar find out about this, they also venture out to Devil's Castle to try and save Goku and Krillin, as well as stumble along Launch, a thief who is searching for something to steal in the castle. Review the plot. Like I said, this is just a reintroduction as to how Goku first meets Krillin and Launch. That's what all the Dragon Ball movies do. It's just a reintroduction to a different story arc in a shorter time. However, what's really great about this is that there is a vast amount of imagination and creativity that was seriously put into the story. Unlike other Dragon Ball movies, this one seriously takes the time and the effort to actually construct an original and unique story that actually gives us something new and a little bit different from the usual crap that they keep piling through with all the other Dragon Ball movies. What's nice about this is that there's such a vast amount of imagination here, with lots of detailed-looking monsters, creatures. You got a whole unique scenario, like going to this giant Devil's Hand castle and trying to find this mystical object. It's kind of like an Indiana Jones thing or something like that. It's going back to the basics of Dragon Ball, getting on a mystic quest, going through dangers and all that. I really liked that. I was very impressed because I'd pretty much given up all hope on all Dragon Ball movies after seeing all of them, and it just kind of saddens me. This is the only one that seriously has this much unique creativity in it, but nevertheless, this is a pretty imaginative story. Review the characters. All the characters that you know and love are pretty much in here, and they play pretty much their same roles. The big problem you'll notice right away, though, is that I'm assuming that Funimation was between voice actors at the time, because there's some different voices actors for some of the characters here. Bulma, in particular, has a particularly higher and more annoying voice than usual, and the biggest problem comes with Goku's voice actress, Celia Delgadillo, and I can't even say the frickin' thing right, who is actually the voice actress who played Dende in Dragon Ball Z. Nevertheless, all the characters pretty much stay the same way. They have the same personality traits and everything. I actually thought Bulma's role was quite nice in here. She gets a nice elevated role in this film, and I found her, while her new voice is quite annoying, I found her use in this film a little more helpful than her role in other films. Count Lucifer is a much more interesting villain, as he's not unlike the superpowered demigod guys that Goku eventually fights down in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and he had a lot more interesting plot to just take over the world. He had a little more creativity with it. And the really cool thing about this, as I said, is the vast assortment of all the monsters and characters here. There's such creativity with these goblin demons with guns and wings. There's these plant monsters. There's this one big red ogre-like demon who rides on these flying thundercloud balls. I shit you not. There's so much unique creativity going on with all these little characters. And even though he's pretty much pointless, Igor is quite amusing in this role, with Christopher Sabat given a very dry and droll voice. I found him amusing nevertheless. Review of the animation and the music. Animation is probably this movie's absolute strongest point. The artwork, designing and detailing the Devil's Hand castle, the ray gun that's used to shoot out the sun, even when the layout of the castle and the creatures. Everything is so fresh, different, and unlike anything we've seen in any other past Dragon Ball movie. This thing gives you constant fresh new material with a vast amount of creativity and imagination. That's what I thought was so cool, that the artwork really just seemed to echo classic Akira Toriyama stuff. You can tell it's his style, and he really has a great sense of imagination that I wish he would use more often with these films. Because there's such great creature designs in here that I just wish they would have used them more. The music is actually quite different than other Dragon Ball films and doesn't rely on the same old tunes over and over again. It has like an old sense of like a Dracula kind of old tone kind of sound. And I thought it was a really nice touch with the whole dark ominous vampire like demon cult that Lucifer's in with the monsters, and particularly the sacrifice scene where Bulma's being prepared by the monsters. I thought there's some really nice tones and tunes in this song. In the film. Overall, the animation was just absolutely probably the high point of the whole movie. I had never seen such creative dark artwork from Akira Toriyama, when his stuff, even when it's at its darkest, is usually brightly colored. This is some really nice stuff. Flaws about the film. As I said before, I was quite disappointed that Goku and Bulma's voice actors did not show up for this film. Pretty much everyone is the same. You wouldn't think it would be that much of a bother, but when you're so used to the other characters' voices, it becomes very distracting. And it just makes it worse because Goku and Bulma are the primary characters, so to have them, of all the characters, to have the only ones to be affected by this voice change just makes it look that much worse. Another problem is that the way they introduced Launch here is that by the time she actually comes in, it makes it kind of pointless. It kind of starts as a funny story gag at the end of the film for the plot point of the whole Sleeping Princess thing, but it just seemed kind of senseless to go to the time to reintroducing her when she wasn't even that prominent in the storyline. And I just never cared for the fact that these movies retread their storylines. So in that case, I can't really hold that part of it against this film because I already knew that before I went into this. But also, I just felt that maybe it could have flowed. It had the potential to go much longer. Because, as I said, this is the most original and creative one. There was so much unique story material here. You had plenty of elbow room to create some new stuff here that would have made it even more interesting. And just maybe expanded on the whole notion of putting in new material with the old material and not worrying about it being confined to just following the old Dragon Ball code. I don't know. Just the way I see it. I glorify this movie so much because of its creativity, and perhaps because there's so much of a lack of it in the other three films. This one maybe just seems that much brighter by default, but I really thought there was so much more here that could have been used. Final wrap-up on this review. Dragon Ball Movie 2, Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle is by far the most original, the most unique, and the most creative out of all four of the Dragon Ball films, even though this movie does suffer some notable flaws that will definitely grind your gears by seeing Goku and Bulma having such horrendously annoying and high-pitched voices replacing their classic old ones. There really is so much more better material here than in any other film. It's not just a couple new things. Not just like one or two new characters with some slight changes. It's a whole new ball game with a whole new story, just mixed with the same characters. And that's the way these movies should be, bringing us new material instead of rehashing the old stuff with minor differences. Animation was beautiful. I love the dark, ominous music. You had some really great creature and character designs, Count Lucifer and the monsters and the goblins. I really thought this movie was really fun. Lots of neat new stuff in here. I give Dragon Ball Movie 2, Sleeping Princess, and Devil's Castle 3 stars and a half out of 5 stars. Well, that's all for now. This has been Bionic Slime for BS Reviews. Thank you guys for listening, and bye for now.